men should watch this video. 10 clear signs you both like each other. The Stoic hub. The art of love is largely the art of persistence. Albert Ellis, have you ever caught someone's eyes and felt like time stood still? The world around you fades, and all that remains is that one shared glance. You smile, they smile back, and before you even realize it, you're moving closer instinctively without saying a word. But deep down, something more is happening. Right? What if I told you there's a science behind these moments, a set of subtle psychological signs that indicate mutual attraction, even when nothing is verbally expressed? You might find yourself wondering, is this just me, or do they feel it too well? In this video, we're going to explore the deeper psychology of attraction and unveil 10 undeniable signs that show when two people are secretly interested in each other. By the end of this video, you'll see human interaction through an entirely new lens. As someone who has studied human behavior for years, I can tell you that attraction isn't always about the loud gestures or dramatic moments more often than not. It's in the quiet glances, the brief pauses in conversation, and the tiny yet telling details we often overlook in this session. We'll break down those 10 psychological cues, helping you recognize when someone might be feeling the same way. Even when words are left unsaid, these signs might seem subtle, but they're there. You just need to know where to look. So stay tuned, because by the time we're done, you might just discover new insights into how people connect. And who knows, someone might just come to mind. Let's dive in. Sign 1. Magnetic eye contact. There's a powerful feeling when you catch someone's eyes and just hold it for a moment longer than usual. Have you ever found yourself gazing into someone's eyes and for a brief instant time seems to pause? You both share a knowing smile, and in that fleeting moment, there's a silent conversation taking place, one that doesn't need words. The eyes, often called the windows to the soul, reveal more about our emotions and intentions than we realize according to ancient Stoic wisdom. Everything starts with perception. Eye contact is a prime example of this. When two people are drawn to each other, eye contact becomes the beginning of a deeper connection, one that is immediate and primal. It lingers just long enough to acknowledge something unspoken, or perhaps it's followed by a shy look away, as if the other person caught you off guard by revealing emotions you weren't prepared to face. This is not just poetic fancy, it's rooted in biology. Prolonged eye contact activates the brain's dopamine system, which is the same pathway that gets triggered when we experience pleasure or reward. This is why when someone holds your gaze for just a little too long, it's not a coincidence, it's instinctive attraction, signaling that something significant is happening on a deeper level. This powerful feeling isn't random, it's built into our biology, much like the Stoic principles of understanding and controlling our own desires and emotions. When you and the other person exchange that lingering look, you're not just engaging in an unconscious action, you're beginning a wordless dialogue. It's the start of a bond that could grow if nurtured, much like the iron mind of a Stoic, where emotions are recognized but not allowed to control one's actions in real life. When you experience this kind of eye contact, don't ignore it. Embrace it, understand it, and notice how it feels. It's a sign that there's a deeper connection and your instincts are guiding you toward it. And remember, you don't need to rush or force anything, the old Stoic would advise. Patience brings clarity. Let things unfold naturally and keep your attention sharp. The connection may just be the first of many signs that you're both on the same wavelength. Sign number 2, subtle touches. Let's address something that many men fail to notice. Touch, but I'm not talking about the obvious kind, like hand-holding, hugging, or anything that's clear and direct. I'm referring to the subtle, almost unintentional and barely noticeable touches that happen between two people. These are the kind of touches that linger just a little longer than necessary, the kind that seem like accidents, but In reality, they happen far too often to be ignored. So, let me break it down for you when a woman is truly attracted to you but too cautious or unsure to express it. Overtly, her body still has a way of letting her emotions slip out almost instinctively. These subtle touches aren't about the physical action itself. They're a way for her to feel a connection with you while still maintaining some emotional distance. It might look like a light brush of her fingers on your forearm while she laughs at something you said, or it could be her adjusting your sleeve or the string of your hoodie. Nothing significant, but just enough to feel that moment of contact. And that's the key here. It's not the thing she's touching, but the unspoken desire behind it. She's allowing herself to feel that closeness, even if only for a split second from a psychological standpoint. Subtle touch is an instinctive way of seeking connection without fully committing to. Her body is reacting before her mind has the chance to analyze the situation. It's a way for her to gauge how comfortable she is being near you, to test the waters without risking the potential rejection that could follow more direct actions. The deeper attraction may be there, but the vulnerability is not easy to embrace. This is where the wisdom of old Stoic principles comes into play. The Stoics taught us that controlling our emotions and desires leads to peace of mind and clarity. When navigating relationships, both men and women must understand that connection isn't always about bold actions. Sometimes it's the smallest, most subtle gestures that carry the most weight. These small touches are an unspoken language of the heart, one that requires the iron mind and discipline that the Stoics valued, not only to observe, but to understand. So how do you interpret these subtle signals in real life? First, recognize that the small gestures are not to be dismissed in a world that often pushes for grand romantic gestures. The real connection often happens in the quiet, unspoken moments. Don't mistake subtlety for indifference. Pay attention to the nonverbal cues, those little touches that come your way, for they might be the most honest reflection of her true feelings. Remember the words of Marcus Aurelius. The soul becomes dyed with the colour of its thoughts. What he meant was that we shape our reality based on the signals we allow ourselves to recognise. If you're aware, you'll begin to notice these subtle gestures and you'll understand the deeper emotions behind them. Don't rush to conclusions, but recognise that those small touches are part of a larger picture. They may be a sign that someone is not just interested in you physically, but emotionally. As well, the Stoics knew the importance of observation in relationships. The iron mind, the unflappable calm and sharp mindset, allows us to interpret the true intent behind actions, whether they are overt or subtle. Understanding the power of subtle touches in the context of ancient wisdom is an essential tool for a man looking to build a connection based on genuine trust and mutual respect. Don't let your mind cloud your judgment. By overanalyzing or rushing the process, allow yourself to be present and see the signals for what they truly are. Now don't sit back passively, waiting for these touches to happen. Be aware, be present, and be ready to reciprocate the subtle gestures when they come your way. Your awareness and response to these small actions can build an emotional connection that speaks volumes. As you cultivate the old Stoic discipline in your own life, remember that love and attraction aren't always loud and obvious. Sometimes they are silent, soft and unspoken. If you recognize the power of subtle touches in building connection, drop a comment right. Now I see beyond the surface and remind yourself. Daily. Silence is not weakness, it's strength. Sign number 3, inside jokes and private language. Let me ask you, have you ever been in a conversation with a woman and suddenly she drops a phrase? Something you said weeks ago just slightly altered, almost like a private callback to a moment only you two shared. You might have laughed it off, maybe even shrugged it off. has nothing but, let me tell you this, that was a sign when a woman feels an attraction to you, but hesitates to admit it outright. She won't come right out and confess. Instead, she'll craft a secret world for the two of you, a universe that only exists in the realm of private language. Think inside jokes, teasing nicknames, those quirky catchphrases that only make sense to the two of you. It's not about trying to be funny, not about throwing in witty remarks to entertain. It's about creating a sense of closeness without the risk of vulnerability. Now listen closely. This is subtle, and most men miss it. Why? Because you're conditioned to look for the bold signs, the flirting, the compliments, the physical touch, but hidden attraction doesn't work like that. It hides in plain sight. It's a delicate dance, a quiet message passed back and forth that says, I'm building something with you, but I'm not ready to make it obvious. A simple phrase might slip out like careful, don't bring out your detective mode again after you once joked about how observant you are. It's not about the joke. It's about testing the waters of familiarity. That's the secret language she's developing with you. If you miss that signal, you miss her interest from a Stoic perspective. This is where your discipline in perception becomes vital. The Stoics, like Epictetus, often talked about the importance of mastering your perceptions and not jumping to conclusions. Don't assume that every woman who interacts with you has some hidden agenda, but equally don't ignore the patterns that appear right in front of your eyes. Your awareness and discernment are your most powerful allies. You must recognize when language small, seemingly insignificant phrases forms a pattern of personal connection. This is the path of wisdom. Noticing the subtle signals that build between you, the unsaid words that mean more than what's spoken. You don't need grand gestures to know she's interested. You need to see the little things, the small hidden moments that form a bridge between you two. In modern life, this behaviour is often overlooked. We live in a world of rapid communication, where everything is direct and immediate. But in reality, real connections are built through these quiet, understated exchanges. The greatest men of history understood this. They mastered the art of reading between the lines and seeing the signs that others missed. You have to do the same, just like a successful business. Leader doesn't just focus on the loudest market trends. The most effective man in relationships understands that subtlety is the true language of connection. Women don't always express their attraction in bold ways, but through their words, their behaviour, their inside jokes. They send clear messages. The lesson here is simple but powerful. You have to open your eyes to the signs that are hiding in plain sight. Look beyond the obvious. Recognise when she's creating that secret world between you and her, a world that others can't see. It's a tool of connection, a tool that only those WHO pay attention can wield effectively, the paths of wisdom. Lead us to understand that human nature isn't always up front. Sometimes it's hidden, wrapped in the simplest of actions, like an inside joke. You must know how to read those actions, understand their meaning, and respond accordingly. So don't miss the signs, don't dismiss the small gestures. Master the discipline of perception, and you will win, like the Stoics taught. Life is full of signals. The secret to success in relationships, in business, in life, is learning how to see them, understand them, and use them to your advantage. The path to winning in life starts by paying attention to the little things in every relationship. There's a moment where that hidden language becomes undeniable. Don't miss it. Be present, recognize it, and act on it. This is the mark of a man who understands the deepest truths about human connection. If you understand this, you understand the game, you control the narrative. Sign number 4, awkwardness, nervous energy. Let's be honest for a moment. When you think about attraction, you probably imagine the confident flirtation, the smooth conversations that flow effortlessly. But let me tell you something. One of the most authentic signs that someone likes you is awkwardness. Yes, that jittery, nervous energy when they can't find the right words or they seem a bit off. It might seem like a negative trait, but in truth, it's one of the clearest indicators of attraction. And here's the key to understanding it. It doesn't mean they lack confidence. In fact, it's quite the opposite when someone is genuinely interested in you. Emotions stir within them, and emotions are a force that we often struggle to control. The result? Fidgeting, awkward laugh, stumbling over words, and maybe even saying something weird, and then immediately trying to cover it up. You've seen it before, you've probably felt it yourself, and this, my friend, is where the power of Stoic wisdom comes into play. What's really happening when someone becomes nervous or awkward around you? At its core, nervousness is the tension between desire and fear, the desire to connect, to be understood, and the fear of rejection, of putting themselves out there and risking disappointment. And when that tension manifests in their body, in the rhythm of their voice, or in their gestures, it's not random, it's a clear signal that something deeper is at play. Let's pull a lesson from the great Stoic philosopher Seneca. Decode wisely said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." You can apply this insight directly to the nervous energy you see in someone. Who likes you the more deeply someone feels, the harder it becomes to mask their emotions. This internal storm of desire and fear doesn't make them act cool. It often has the opposite effect. They hesitate, they overthink. Should I speak now or wait? Should I smile longer or turn away? What if they notice how nervous I am? But here's the important thing to remember. That very storm, that awkward hesitation, is actually a message. It's the body's way of saying, this person matters. Let me tell you a story. I once coached a client named Sarah, and she shared something that stuck with me. She told me that every time she saw a particular guy at her gym, her routine completely fell apart. She would trip over her words, forget her reps, and even drop her water bottle, just trying to seem like she had it all together. And guess what? This guy, completely unaware, thought she wasn't interested. He assumed she was distracted, not paying attention to him. What he didn't realize was that every little misstep she made was a sign of how much she actually cared. She was overthinking every move because he mattered to her. This is the trap we all fall into. We often assume attraction looks like easy eye contact, smooth talking, and wide smiles. But let me tell you something. Sometimes attraction shows up as a weird pause in a conversation, or nervous laughter, or the constant adjusting of a sleeve, or pacing back and forth. These are not signs of disinterest. These are the marks of emotional friction. And here's where the Stoic mind has the upper hand. You don't react to the awkwardness, you embrace it. You observe it with calm awareness. You don't judge. You notice, you see her fidgeting, her voice slightly trembling, her usual confidence slipping into uncertainty instead of getting frustrated, instead of pulling away. You simply acknowledge it. And in that moment, you gain insight that others might miss. This is your advantage. As a high-value man, you are seeing beyond the surface. You see the real signal beneath the nervousness, and that's where true understanding begins. Now let me share a moment that left a lasting impression on me. A few years ago, I attended a casual dinner party with about 12 people. One woman hardly spoke the entire night. She was quiet, reserved, offering only small smiles and short responses. But towards the end of the evening, someone casually mentioned hiking, and I chimed in, saying that I had twisted my ankle on a trail a couple of weeks earlier, and suddenly her face lit up. Wait, She said the ridge trail with the loose gravel near the cliffs. I nodded and she smiled even wider. I always thought that part was brutal. I'm glad you're okay in that moment, the room carried on. But I saw the shift. Her body leaned in her voice, which had been so quiet all evening, grew enthusiastic. She had been paying attention all night, listening carefully, nervous about how to join the conversation. But when she found her opening, when she found the right moment to connect, the walls came down. That moment of nervousness wasn't weakness. It was a doorway into something more real, more authentic. Now, I want you to think about the last time you saw someone acting a bit odd around you. Were they jumpy? Did they seem more talkative or more quiet than usual? Did they behave differently with you than they did with everyone else? If you've ever seen this shift, I want you to type in the comments. I noticed the shift. That shift is significant and it's real. Do not dismiss it. Do not ignore the nervousness, the awkwardness, in fact. Sometimes those are the most genuine signals of attraction. But here's where the magic happens. Once that awkward tension is met with calm acceptance, it begins to evolve into something far more powerful. It shifts into trust. It becomes ease, and eventually it can even transform into boldness. This is how connections grow deeper. Understand this when you see that nervous energy in someone. It's not a sign to run away. It's a call to embrace. Remember, as Epicurus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. And you, as a man who walks the paths of wisdom, know how to react. You know that Stoicism isn't about hiding your feelings. It's about embracing the storm inside and using it to your advantage. So the next time you notice nervousness, don't shy away. Don't brush it off. Accept it, observe it, and use it to connect on a deeper level. The paths of wisdom are clear, and they guide us to see beyond the surface, to find meaning in the moments others. Miss, when you understand this, you'll not only become more attractive, you'll win. And if you find today's content very interesting, please give me a word of encouragement by commenting. Very interesting in the comment section. That is a huge motivation for us. Thank you, sign number 5. They remember the little things. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone bring up a tiny detail you mentioned weeks ago? Something you barely remember saying? Maybe you told them your favourite ice cream flavour is pistachio. Maybe you said you hate rainy Mondays. Maybe you casually mentioned your dad taught you how to fix a sink when you were 12. And one day, they bring it up unprompted, effortlessly. They remembered that moment. Hits differently, doesn't it? When someone remembers the little things, especially the things no one else bothers to hold on to. It's not just a good memory. It's not politeness. It's interest. It's care. It's presence. When attraction is mutual but unspoken, these small acts become the language of connection. We're taught to look for big gestures, grand confessions, flirtatious texts, long phone calls, but most of the time, real connection shows up in whispers. And this, right here, is one of those whispers. The truth is the brain doesn't randomly store information. It stores what it finds meaningful. So, if someone remembers a story you told at 11 p.m. about your old dog, or that you once said you sleep better with white noise that's not an accident, that's emotional. Priority in psychology, this is sometimes referred to as selective attention, but from a Stoic lens, it's something deeper. Stoics train themselves to see what matters, to tune out the noise and recognize patterns in people, especially in behavior, because human behavior is rarely random. It's layered, it's patterned, it speaks. So when someone recalls the way you take your coffee without asking again, or references a song you mentioned once when you were tired and open, that's emotional accuracy in motion. You are remembered, and that means something. Let me give you an example from real life. One of my coaching clients, Ryan, shared a story with me that stuck. He was seeing someone casually, nothing serious, according to him. During one conversation, he briefly mentioned that When he was a kid, he used to save bottle caps with his grandfather. He forgot, he even said it a month later, on a random weekend. She handed him a small mason jar inside a handful of old bottle caps. She said, "Saw these at a vintage market, thought you might like them." That wasn't a gift, that was a memory returned. With intention, Ryan told me he didn't know what to say. And that's the thing. When someone remembers your small details, you don't always have to say something, you just feel it. And in many cases, especially with attraction that hasn't been spoken aloud yet, this is the moment that shifts everything. Now here's where Stoicism comes in. A Stoic man doesn't chase meaning in every interaction he observes. He holds steady, but when he sees clear evidence of intentional memory, when someone has remembered his values, his quirks, his emotions, he acknowledges it internally with quiet respect. He doesn't get caught up in fantasy, but he also doesn't ignore emotional data. So let me ask you this. Have you ever had someone remember something small about you that even you forgot you shared, that moment when they say, "Didn't you mention this once?" and you're left wondering how they even remembered? If yes, type this in the comments. They remembered. It's a small sentence, but it means everything, because when the little things are remembered, it tells you one powerful truth. You weren't just heard, you were felt. Sign number 6, mirroring each other's body language. Have you ever caught yourself mirroring someone's movements? You might find yourself crossing your arms, and within moments they do the same. Or perhaps you lean forward in your chair only to see them subtly mirror your action. At first glance, it may seem like a simple coincidence, but in reality, it's a clear indicator of a deeper emotional connection. This is known as mirroring, and it's a phenomenon rooted in human nature. Mirroring occurs when we unconsciously replicate another person's posture, gestures, or even speech patterns. It's referred to as the chameleon effect, and it's a powerful sign of emotional rapport. Psychologists suggest that mirroring happens when we are drawn to someone on a subconscious level, triggering the activation of our mirror neurons. These mirror neurons are the brain's way of helping us sync with others. By mimicking their behaviors, movements, and even tone of voice, it's a vital part of a human bonding that builds trust and a sense of connection. Why does this happen? Though it's simple, mirroring fosters a sense of comfort. When you mirror someone's actions, you're sending a clear message that you feel at ease with them, that you're in sync. It's a silent yet powerful signal that says, "I understand you and I'm on the same wavelength." It's not a trick or a random coincidence. This is chemistry at play. So next time you notice yourself and someone else mirroring each other's movements, pay attention. This shared body language is a telltale sign that there's something deeper between you. This isn't just about physical gestures, it's an unspoken language that speaks volumes about your connection in our modern world, where connections can often feel fleeting or superficial. The Stoic rules of emotional control and understanding become particularly valuable. The ancient teachings of Stoicism emphasize the importance of inner strength and being aware of our emotions, but they also remind us of the power of genuine human connection. When you witness mirroring, recognize it for what it truly is, an expression of alignment and mutual respect. You're not just two people sitting in the same room, you're both tuning into each other's emotional frequency. Practical Stoicism teaches us that understanding the nuances of human interaction is key to navigating relationships. You must learn to read between the lines in today's world with all its distractions. It's easy to overlook these subtle cues, but don't let the modern chaos drown out the beauty of what's happening in those moments of mirroring. It's a form of communication that goes beyond words, and it's a sign that the relationship you're building has potential to go beyond surface level interactions. You have to be aware of the subtle signs around you. Stoic principles encourage self-awareness and mindfulness. 2 practices that can significantly enhance your understanding of human dynamics. Recognizing when someone mirrors your actions is a valuable tool in any relationship, whether personal or professional. It can help you gauge if the other person feels the same level of engagement, comfort, and emotional resonance. The next time you catch yourself or someone else mirroring body language, don't just shrug it off. Pay attention to the deep connection being forged. This is your opportunity to engage on a deeper, more meaningful level. This also highlights a broader point about human relationships and the importance of self-regulation. While Stoic philosophy teaches us to maintain control over our emotions, it also encourages us to value and nurture the bonds we create with others. It's about balance, while you should remain in control of your emotional state. You must also be open to experiencing and fostering genuine connections. Mirroring is one such example of this delicate balance. It signals a level of emotional attunement that can't be faked or forced. It's real, and when you begin to notice it, you should take that as a green light to deepen the connection. Understanding the power of mirroring is just one tool in your toolkit use. It wisely entrusts that these small but significant cues can guide you towards stronger, more authentic relationships. Whether in personal or professional settings, these signs like mirroring indicate that something deeper is at work. So the next time you catch someone mimicking your body language, remember, it's not just a coincidence, it's chemistry, it's alignment. And above all, it's a sign that you're both in some small but meaningful way on the same path. If you've reached this point, you're not just watching, you're learning to read the signs that others often. Mismirroring isn't random, it's a sign of real connection. Now let me hear from you. Comment below with "I recognize the power of real connection," and let's dive deeper together. Sign number 7. They find reasons to be around you. It's simple. Really, if someone keeps showing up where you are, even when it's not necessary, it's not luck, it's not coincidence, it's intention, cloaked in subtlety when attraction builds but hasn't been confessed, particularly when there's fear, uncertainty, or emotional risk. The instinct is to orbit. They won't move directly towards you, but they can't stay away either, so they create reasons to be near you. Maybe they just happen to grab coffee near your office or ask for help with something. They could easily solve themselves. They show up early, stay late, and sit nearby, not to pressure you, but to feel close without being overt. This can be mistaken for mere friendliness, or in some cases completely overlooked. But once you recognize the pattern, it becomes clear, why does this happen? Because proximity is power. The old Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, understood this principle well. Aurelius often emphasized the importance of choosing your environment carefully, as what surrounds you shapes who you become. This doesn't only apply to physical surroundings, but also emotional ones. When someone is drawn to you, their instinct isn't always to confess their feelings immediately. Instead, it's to position themselves. They want to see if you'll respond to their subtle attempts. They want to feel your energy and lower their own fear of rejection, inching closer. Little by little, this concept aligns with Stoic principles that focus on controlling what you can and accepting what you cannot. The power of proximity is an unspoken way of testing the waters to see if you'll mirror their interest. Let me give you a real-life example. Jason, a guy I know, worked in a shared office space every few days. A woman from another department would stop by at first. It was work-related, then it wasn't. She started bringing snacks to the floor, asking if anyone knew how to fix the coffee machine, but always directed her questions to him one day. She said, "I feel more focused when I work near your area." Did she need to be their number? But that wasn't the point. Her mind had already made the decision. Her actions were not about convenience. They were about being near him, slowly building an emotional connection, testing his reaction. This aligns perfectly with the Stoic perspective. Don't get cocky. Don't chase, but observe. when someone continually seeks your presence, whether physically in person or digitally. It's not random, it's a choice. It may look like coincidence, but it's not digital. Space counts. 2. When someone responds to your post, within seconds comments consistently on your stories or reacts to things they never reacted to before, that's not chance, it's intent, camouflaged as casual interaction. The core lesson here is simple people make time for what they care about, and they make space, even in subtle ways, for the ones they're drawn to. This is a reflection of the iron mind philosophy that the Stoics prized, having clarity of thought and purpose without unnecessary distractions. If you're able to remain grounded in the old Stoic way, understanding this subtle dance of attraction and proximity, you'll begin to see it everywhere. Remember, proximity is power. And when someone makes space for you, they're telling you something don't chase, but never forget to observe your actions and your awareness will reveal what's truly happening. Sign number 8, deep, uninterrupted conversations. You ever talk to someone and realize an hour passed, and neither of you notice no phones, no distractions, just presence, just flow. That's not common, and it's definitely not accidental. That kind of conversation, unrushed, unfiltered, and emotionally tuned in, is one of the clearest signals of mutual interest. Because in a world addicted to distraction, giving someone your full attention is the modern version of intimacy. Think about it. How often do you scroll while talking to someone? How often do people check their watch, glance at the television behind you, or answer with M while clearly not listening? Now compare that to a conversation where every word lands where you speak and they lean in, where silence isn't awkward, it's comfortable. That kind of connection doesn't just happen, it's created, and it's almost always born from one thing. Genuine attraction you see when someone's attracted to you. Truly, they don't just want to be near you, they want to know you, they want to peel back. The surface, ask the second question, hear how you think, and when you feel the same way, you respond the same, you drop the mask, you stop scripting. Yourself, you speak in real time, flawed, honest, present. That's the magic one of my clients. Derek once told me something that stuck with me. He said, I didn't know I liked her until we talked for 2 hours about nothing, and I didn't want it to end. That's when he realized it wasn't about what they talked about, it was the energy behind it. There was no agenda, no performance, just 2 people. Vahwij HU felt safe being curious. And here's something most people don't notice in these conversations. Time bends. You don't feel rushed. You're not planning what to say next. You're just there. And from a Stoic perspective, that's a rare thing because Stoics teach us to live in the present moment, not clinging to the past, not fearing the future. A deep, uninterrupted conversation is one of the purest expressions of that. You're not thinking about how you look, you're not trying to impress, you're engaged, not performative, you're receptive, not reactive. It's AS, close to real presence. S2 people can get sign number 9. Jealous reactions, even the subtle ones. Don't mistake it. Jealousy is one of the clearest signs of interest, but not the toxic possessive variety we all know. Too well we're talking about the subtle flicker, the fleeting glance, the momentary shift in tone, when someone else grabs your attention. These are the unmistakable signs of someone emotionally invested in you. Let me tell you when someone feels replaced. Even for a moment, jealousy creeps in. Not in the loud, dramatic form, but in a quiet, almost invisible way that betrays their true feelings. The truth. Most people won't admit it, they won't speak the words or acknowledge the discomfort, but it's there. If you're paying attention, maybe you mention another woman in passing, and suddenly her energy drops. Perhaps she asks, is she close to you? But her voice tightens just enough for you to notice, or when someone else is making you. Laugh a bit, too hard, she might interrupt subtle signs, but all unmistakable. It's not about controlling you or claiming ownership. It's about emotional proximity. The real signal she cares. She notices, and when she notices competition, her internal alarms start ringing. It's an unspoken confession. You matter to me more than I'm letting on. And here's where Stoicism steps in, where the path of wisdom truly shows its power. A man who walks. The Stoic path doesn't respond with arrogance. He doesn't use jealousy to inflate his ego. No, he observes, he acknowledges, but he remains grounded. He doesn't exploit someone's vulnerability, he respects. In fact, one of the greatest practices of Stoicism is emotional discipline. The Stoic man knows this. Jealousy, particularly the subtle, fleeting kind, is vulnerability exposed. It's a quiet plea, a silent whisper saying, I don't want to lose your attention. I care more than I'm showing you. Mater Epictetus teaches us that the way to true freedom lies in our ability to master our emotions, not let them dictate. Our actions don't fall into the trap of using emotional responses for manipulation or ego. That's not the Stoic way. The Stoic way is recognizing and acknowledging these feelings without letting them control you. You must rise above them, stay calm, and maintain control. Remember, wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. As Epictetus said, you control your response. You control your life. If she's showing subtle jealousy, don't react in kind. Recognize it, but don't let it rule you. Instead, stay grounded, stay in control, and let the situation unfold naturally. That is how you walk the path of wisdom. You must recognize the emotional investment without exploiting it. When you do, you show her not only your emotional strength, but you also show her respect and maturity, both of which are powerful tools in building a lasting, meaningful connection. So when you notice jealousy, don't react hastily. Observe, acknowledge, and then choose your response carefully. You'll not only build stronger relationships, but you'll also align yourself with the great teachings of Stoicism. This is how you win, how you remain in control of your life, and how you show the world your true power. You must master yourself before you can truly master your relationships. The greatest victory is over oneself. As the Stoics would tell you, take that to heart, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're ready to embrace the wisdom of the Stoics and rise above, you must act decisively. You must lead with confidence if you're ready to walk the path of wisdom. It starts now. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video tomorrow.